Should I feel shelter? Should I feel rain? When all is forgotten once again. Yeah, 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 yeah. And when I crumble, will I build walls? Yet in all of this, I want to hear you say, fall into me, you know I'm falling for you. And when we meet, we will get through this. Child, should I feel shelter? Should I feel rain? When I'm on top of the world and feeling no pain, and when I stumble, will I be strong enough to admit it, so that I'll hear you say, fall into me, you know I'm falling for you. And when we meet, we will get through this. Child, fall into me, you know I'm falling for you. Oh, then you will see the reason behind these eyes. And when there's shelter, there will be rain. Bringing life to this world, you'll be glad that you came. Fall into me, you know I'm falling for you. And when we meet, we will get through this. Child, fall into me, you know I'm falling for you. And you will see the reason behind these eyes. Wow, thank you so much. My name is Keith David. That was indeed one of the first songs I ever wrote. That song is called Shelter and Rain. And I haven't played a gig like this, 5 years or something like that. And Darby got a hold of me and just said, hey, pal, I got a question for you, see if you'd be interested. And I just finished doing a big stint. I used to play with the orchestra in town here, and I was really missing getting back at the songs. And I thought, well, I'm going to turn that tap off and focus on my own songs. Do we have any other musicians in the house here? Just raise your hand. You don't need to clap. That's fine. I know. There you go. No, you're a drummer. See here. There we go. There's Darren. Yeah, you betcha. No. You're a fine drummer at that. But any poets, that type? No poets? Poets are shy. What's that? Yeah, there you go. Anyways, I wrote that when I was about 19 years old. And I'll give you a little history, because it's like, why do you write? What's the purpose of writing? Adam made that clear to me. He goes, where's the why? What's the why in it? And that song is called Shelter and Rain. And little back history, I grew up taking classical piano. And then when I was about 13 years old, I had a crush on this girl named Angie. And she liked the Beatles. And I'm like a 13-year-old boy with an undeveloped brain. And I go, well, I got to have something here. So I asked my dad, who's here? Thank you, Dad. And Mom. And and wife and best bud. And anyways. Yeah, I had nothing. And so I said, Dad, do we have any like Beatles CDs kicking around? He goes, we got tons of your uncle's records downstairs. And then I borrowed a record player off my great-grandfather. I was listening to all these records, not knowing who was who. I was just looking for anything that said the Beatles on it, right? And that was kind of like the first poke into songwriting, because obviously what they do is just unreal, right? And so good that even Paul McCartney can't write Hey Jude again. It's just, those songs are so good. How do you keep going? But anyways, later on, nothing happened with Angie and I. I still probably owe her a song. I haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, this song is called Shelter in Rain. And typically as musicians, we tend to write, despair is an easy thing to kind of push your foot off of in terms of creativity. When I was 19 years old, a bunch of my buddies, a buddy of mine was getting married, and I was living in a little trailer court, 19 years old, my first little spot. I was like, hey, I texted one of my buddies, hey, what are you up to? And, we're at so-and-so stag. All my good friends, they forgot about me. That hurt. That hurt like hell. I was 19. I mean, we're 19-year-old dudes. I mean, we can barely think, 5 minutes ahead of ourselves. And so I wrote a song called Shelter in Rain. And the lyric is, should I seek shelter or should I seek rain? In times of despair, do I embrace it? Do I hide from it? Right? And of course, with songwriting, you always get to mix in a little fact with fiction just to spruce things up. This song is about, again, you point off on despair, it's really easy, but the song is hearing hope that you can't believe. When it's dark, when it's very dark, very deep. And don't worry, they're not all like this. Another round of the constellation, I make my way to the railway station. How many days will I need to see your love coming back for me? I set my sails for the ocean sky, though I'm left always wondering why. Still I wait for it, I wait for it. You hypnotize me with those eyes, a tender kiss and I am capsized. How many days will I take to finally pretend that I am still awake? I'm just a child overboard, a lost soul looking for more. Still I wait for it, I wait for it. I lose my head to understand the words you speak. Are they for me? So here I am, and here I be. Once again, I am lost at sea. How many days until I die? And will I rest to finally say goodnight? I'm sick and tired of the things I've said, even though the words were all in my head. Still I wait for it, I wait for it. lose my head to understand the words you speak. Are they for me? I lose my head to understand the words you speak. Are they for me? In my career, I was working up in Fort St. John. By the way, I had more jobs in my 20s than there were years in that decade. Oh, such a foolish musician. But anyways, I got my cousin, Rick Staley, he gave me a call one day. He goes, "Hey, Keith, you play piano, right?" I go, "Yeah, I play piano." And he goes, "Do you play country?" I go, "I haven't gotten there yet." He goes, "Why don't you come out to the Cadillac Ranch? We're playing like 6 nights a week. And we'll go play some country." So here's a super easy trick. If you ever find yourself playing piano in a country band and you don't know any of the songs, sit on stage right. Because if you also play guitar, you can read the chords. And you can just completely fake all the way through these songs, right? So he looked at me, he goes, "Drinking, thinking." I'm like, "Well, I don't know what that song is. Just give me the key," right? But what happened was the country influence really got in there. I didn't even expect it to happen. When I wrote this next song's called "Come Out to Play." I was working up in Fort St. John at the airport. I was one of those guys who used to save lives every day, like shampoo bottles, really small knives, things that are just unreasonably suspicious. So, this guy's looking at me like he says, "Man, I know your type." But anyway, so there's this gal that worked at one of the airlines, and she's kind of toying with me, and I couldn't figure out, because again, I'm a young man, and I couldn't figure out if she was sincere or just seeing if I'd take the bait, right? I didn't know, right? And a bit dull. And so I was in my hotel room, and this is up in Fort St. John, and this would be about early April, because I took my motorcycle out, and I rode my motorcycle out to Fort St. John. There was still snow on the side of the highway. It was unreal, right? And I brought this guitar, and that's why I brought it. It's one of my first guitars, so you get to hear some of that stuff, right? So I don't name them. They're just tools. But "Come Out to Play." And sometimes you just gotta, when you're writing songs, you just write where you are. And I was alone in my hotel room. She never came in. And I just literally wrote down, "I'm sitting alone on the edge of the bed and it's getting late," right? And also, as I'm fumbling with the song, also I get a text, via Messenger. She found me. "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, no," right? And so I wrote, "I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and it's getting late. I'm thinking about all the words you said now that it's too late," right? So that's kind of, okay, that's a neat play, right? And also I'm married, so you have no chance, but I can't really put that in there as thickly. So, but I wrote the lyric, "But living alone in a room for one can be just as hard as living alone in a room for two with a broken heart." I was like, oh my gosh. That's a good lyric. When I'm writing songs or writing lyrics, to me it's like archaeology. It's already there. I don't feel like I've "Oh, check out what I built. This is amazing. Look at that," right? It's not that. It's more like, "Hey, check out what I found." I get super excited, right? And I'm a big fan of my own songs, so they don't feel like mine. I just got to pump them out. Anyways, "Come Out to Play." This one's fun. And at the end, we can sing. At the end, we can go, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." That's at the end, so feel free to join. Oh, and also too, it was a total accidental country song. I was playing Paul Simon vibes and Simon and Garfunkel and James Taylor. And when I wrote this, I started recording all the parts at home, and I went, it's a country song. It's country, right? And I mean, not like country, but it's country, so. I'm sitting alone on the edge of the bed and it's getting late. I'm thinking about all the words you said now that it's too late. When you say I come out to play, but living alone in a room for one can be just as hard as living alone in a room for two with a broken heart. And I say I'm coming out to play. I never did. And I say I'm coming out to play. But I can't understand why you would want to be the one I choose. And if I do, will you still want me to? You're looking alive and your eyes are bright and they're after me. I'm looking around for my own way out and you're all I see. And I see, ooh, with who I want to be. But I can't understand why you would want to be the one I choose. And if I do, will you still want me to? But I can't understand why you would want to be the one I choose. And if I do, ooh, will you still want me to? Ooh, right on. Ooh, big breath. Next song is called Forever Again, and this is a promise to my wife. We'll be married 20 years next year. I know. Yeah. Legally, even. She was 20 for about, I think 2 weeks, and we got married. I won't talk about this one. We'll just let this one speak for itself. Got snipped after 2. I'm an only child. Someone told me I suffer from OCS. I was like, what's OCS? She's like, only child syndrome. I said, no, I don't suffer from it. Yeah, no, but we don't suffer from it. We enjoy it thoroughly. Other people suffer as a result. Forever again. And every time you fell, I fell with you. And every time you crawled, I pulled you through. But every time you run, and I will remain your best friend forever again. every time you held, I held with you. And every time you loved, I loved you too. But every time you run, I will remain your best friend forever again. Every time you sing, I sing to you. And every time you turn, I turn to you. But every time you run, I will remain your best friend forever again. I used to drive truck for like nearly 7 years, like the big rigs, XL, blue trucks. Dad drives. He taught me how to drive. I did that in my 30s. And I know I don't have the haircut or the waistline for your typical truck driver, but I did her. Loved it. Really loved the job. Really enjoyed the job. Long hours. And this one was a truck driving song. And again, you're going to hear the kind of the country thing coming out of it. And sometimes as a songwriter, you just kind of mumble out, like, I don't know about the rest of you when you're songwriting, but sometimes you just mumble out phrases and like just sounds. You're like, I don't know how you guys do it, but that's what I do. And I completely make sure no one hears me, starting a song, because it's just, it sounds like there's a problem, right? So, but this one, I was driving west to Burns Lake with a load, and I just kind of had this, and it wasn't the truck, it was me, right? It was just good, because if that's the truck, again, problems, right? And so it was just kind of doing that, and I was like, another night, another road. I was like, that's kind of neat. And I'm still pull a heavy load. I'm like, oh, okay, we got a song, right? It's not that quick. It's like, for me at least. And I mumbled out the words, when you belonged to me. It just kind of came out, right? It's like Paul McCartney's Yesterday. If you guys don't know, it used to be called Scrambled Eggs, like scrambled eggs, right? But it was eventually, like a year later or something, it became Yesterday, right? So sometimes you have these thoughts and they make no sense, right? So this song, When You Belong to Me, I thought, what does that mean? What can I write around that? And I thought, well, and I started channeling, like, just like, my 13-year-old crush, like, the girlfriend I had in junior high, right? It's like, what would have happened, if that went, or just like looking back, right? Not out of disfaction, but just out of consideration, right? And so When You Belong to Me, it's just a fun tune. And just feeling that tear of that, right? So we're on the highway, we're driving, and we're way behind schedule. Another night, another road. Still I pull a heavy load on my mind. Our memories when you belonged to me. I held your hand, felt your touch, and on you were my crutch. No fear to find, no misery when you belong to me. And oh my love, it's you tonight that holds my heart to this night. Out from the cold, you were my home, and it was you and I alone. And you were mine and mine to be when you belong to me. And oh my love, it's you tonight that holds my heart to this night. But how do I go on this way? Yeah, this is where I choose to remain. And in your arms and in your love, this is what I'm dreaming of. And I don't fight these memories when you belonged to me. Another night, another road, still I pull a heavy load on my mind. These memories when you belong to me. No, my love, it's you tonight that holds my heart to this night. But how do I go on this way? Yeah, this is where